How's it going, everyone? Bingo Bango Moto back again for another video. Obviously I'm not on the CRF today. There seems to be nowhere that I can go to get a good view or, you know, head up to a lake or something like that without fighting snow. So instead, I've got another video for you guys. We're gonna be doing something a little bit different. Because snow is right around the corner for us lower elevation people, I figured I'd make a video about putting together a KFI snowplow kit on the 2024 Yamaha Kodiak 450 behind me. This is not an installation video for the winch. This is only an installation video for the snowplow kit itself. But I will go over how I put the winch on and some important notes to make it a lot easier for you guys, instead of having to go back to the manufacturer's website and a bunch of trial and error like I did. I happen to make 30-minute installs into something like 4 hours. Okay, so I'll save you guys a little bit of the complication, and hopefully there are some tips and tricks that I can give you that will help, you know, not make it a 4-hour project. So without further ado, I'll show you guys the winch and we'll get started on the KFI snowplow kit, and hopefully this doesn't turn out to be a 4-hour video. Okay, so what comments did I have about the winch to save you guys a little bit of a headache? One thing, one very important thing, and I think because KFI wanted to design something that was interchangeable between Yamaha and CF Moto, they did this. What they said in their paperwork to install on the Kodiak was, hey, if you can't figure out how to put this thing on and make it fit, don't panic, don't try to return it, just look at our website and we'll show you how to turn, kind of move things around a little bit so that you guys can put this thing on and button everything up and it'll fit. So as you can see, you know, the clearances are kind of sort of tight, right? And I believe, it's been a while since I've done this, but I believe it was this that I had to flip. So initially you had your positive and negative like this. And what that did was it didn't allow me to clear this. So what I had to do, loosen it, turn it 90 degrees, and there you go. So KFI was very generous on the wires, and everything fit as far as the mounting goes. I did get all the mounting hardware, the winch, and the plow from the dealership when we got this quad. So yeah, I will put links in the description for KFI's video about how to twist this. I will put links in the description for the winch itself and for the plow, so that if you guys want to do a similar setup, you guys will know what to do with it. But they're very generous on the wires. I just ran this up to Yamaha's provided wires that lead up to the battery. And then all of this all of this was the leftover wire that I had. I didn't bother splicing it or anything like that. I honestly just felt kind of sloppy. But it's all bundled up right here, and it connects right here. And then this leads up to this. This is your in and out. And KFI also provides a remote so that you can run this winch while you're off the quad, so it's like it's separate control. I didn't bother using that because I really don't need it, but that is also an option, and it does come with instructions to be able to put that on. So again, I'll put all the links in the description and everything for the winch itself, but you will need this in order for you to be able to install our plow kit. You're gonna need the tube system, and this here is the description for the blade that we're working with. It does come with all the hardware you need. And we've also got this. So I'm gonna go ahead and unbox everything. and then I will lay it all out so you guys know exactly what comes with all of this. Okay, so this is a very, very exploded view of what we got going on here. Again, this plate goes under the quad, and then we got our plow. This side connects to the plow. This side's gonna go under and hook up to this plate. Next, we've got our hardware for the plow. All the nuts and bolts and washers, our springs, and then this, which hooks up to the tube assembly. This is what your winch hooks up to. Then we got these guys here that go under the blade, and all the hardware associated with it. Okay, so we got the quad up on ramps, and we're gonna see if we can get the difficult part out of the way. We're gonna see if we can put that plate on there, get the U-bolts on, and once we get that figured out, everything else is gonna be really easy because it's all just out here. This assembly is extremely easy. I just have to figure out how to get that plate on there. These are the U-bolts that came with it. So once I get that figured out, I will come back, report, and then we'll get started on the rest of the easy stuff. Alright, so we're under the quad, and you can see I got my safeties on. What we're doing is we're drilling holes in the plastic skid plate, and we're just trying to get this metal plate mounted. Let me show you what I got going on under here. So what I'm trying to do is use these holes in the skid plate to my advantage. And there was a hole right here, and I had to drill this one. Same thing over here. There was a hole right here already, and I just had to drill that one. So this does line up with our design here in figure 4, but the other two holes are going to be a little bit different, because the way that the instructions say is going to be basically using these two closest to the rail. But I'm thinking, why the heck would I do that if I've got a hole right here in the skid plate that I can use to my advantage, and I only have to drill one more hole right here. So I'm gonna kind of violate the design a little bit, and yeah, just use the skid plate holes to my advantage. Doesn't really make a difference at all. Like, I still have enough space to drill it, so I'm gonna do that, and we'll see how it goes. The other thing to note is what they want in the instructions here is you're supposed to have 3.5 inches from the very end of this skid plate to the edge of your plow mounting plate. And what it comes out to be actually is exactly, well, exactly, pretty much 3.5 inches. So let me get my tape measure here, and we can see that it's honestly close enough. I mean, I know that's, again, abysmal perspective, but it is very, very close. So that's good enough for me. What I did in order for me to line this up here was I used this contour as my reference. And I just used that little notch or pocket or whatever in the skid plate, and I just kind of lined it up with that. As long as it's more or less center, that's fine. I wasn't really too bothered about making everything absolutely perfect. And I also drilled these first holes. It was a little bit under 1/2 inch. Again, I'm kind of violating the instructions, but judging by the size of the U-bolts that I have, 1/2 inch is way more than enough. I think basically what they wanted to do was just give you enough room to where if you messed up a position, the hole would be big enough to make up for it, and you could still run the U-bolt through it. But I wasn't too worried about that because I was able to kind of trace out where I wanted it, and I didn't want to make it too big. So I just went with the next drill size down, and that was fine. But I think for the ones back here, I'm gonna go ahead and drill them a little bit closer to the size of the U-bolt, make it more of a precise fit if I can. Granted, the plate's already up here, kind of pre-bolted. So once I get everything bolted in, I'll come back and show you guys how that turned out. For the drill sizes that I used, we're looking at a 31/64 for the first 2 holes that I had to drill, just to kind of get a sloppy fit on there. And then for a more precise fit on the last 2 that I had to drill, it's going to be a 21/64. You can find that in a lot of larger packs of drills. This actually gave me a really nice fit. Let's go under there and I'll show you what I've done. Previously, I was talking about this first set of U-bolts in the front. So I got that all nice and tight, and then I went up here, and that's where I used the smaller drill. You can see that there's hardly any slop around where I had to drill. That was perfect. So I got this side all secured, and this side, I just wanted to make a really quick note. There is actually a hose that runs along the frame on this side. If you are on the quad, this is going to be your left side that you're looking at here. And looks like this little guy right here. Okay, so just be sure not to pinch it, and just run your U-bolt right along there and bolt it down. It is a, as far as this kit goes, this is a 13mm socket or wrench, whatever you're using. I'm just using a normal wrench, just getting it snug down. These are lock nuts anyway. Not going to worry about impacting it on there. This isn't really going to take enough abuse to require an impact or anything like that. If you want to use that, you can, but I'm just snugging it down and just getting it to where it's tight enough, you know? Okay, so now we got this plate on there. We have completed the more convoluted part of this process, and now we can go on to assembling the actual plow. On this segment of the assembly, this is the part that we were all looking forward to, right? So you can see that there's a lot of hardware involved here. We got a couple interesting looking spacers, we've got some carriage bolts, a lot of different washers, lock nuts, 2 socket-headed cap screws, the big springs, and a skid kit. But, oh, and this part right here. We'll talk about that in a second. So the first thing that I got to putting on was this bolt, okay? This is the big carriage bolt, and it goes through the big round hole on the blade and lines up with the square hole on the push tube, okay? And then you'll notice on the spacer there's like a kind of a conical or whatever taper. That is going to point in, so you put it basically like this, okay? Like that, towards the assembly. And then you get the appropriate size washer and lock nut, and you secure it down. We're going to do the same thing on the other side, and then according to the instruction manual, the next step is going to be to put these springs on. Now that we have the carriage bolts in place, the next step is going to be to put the springs in there. So we're running the spring through this hole right up here, and then we got our hooks, and the system goes, we got the spring, the hook, a nut, a washer, nut. Okay, and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And I just got it to where I relieved some of the slack out of there. The tension is adjusted as needed, but for right now, just for assembly's sake, I'm just gonna leave it as it is. It's not super sloppy. I mean, it has a little bit of slack in it. But again, for the sake of assembly, we're just gonna leave it like that. Move on to the next side and put the next parts in. Okay, so I'm gonna earn myself a couple dislikes on this video, I bet. Because I know, if you're watching a tutorial, you don't like people jumping ahead on steps with you and then it's like, oh, well gosh, what the heck did they do? So I'm gonna go ahead and explain it because it was kind of frustrating and I was just more focused on putting it all together. So here's the rundown. I got these bolts put in, this side and that side, okay? And then I got the springs in, right? Now, the problem that I ran into was I actually had to redo the springs because I thought, well, you know, we'll just take a little bit of slack out of it, no problem, right? Well, I was wrong. So, there was just a little bit of play in these bolts, just enough play to where when I put the spring on and then I was ready to do these bolts that are responsible for the angle of the blade, when I was pushing things around a little bit, this snapped into place. So with that, I had to go back and tighten this, I had to redo this, and just barely get any tension on it at all. Just enough for the threads to catch, basically. And then, and only then...
And then...
No and then!
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 And then...
Could I put absolutely all my weight up against the blade and then put these bolts in. So that's what took me a while. But now that I have everything in place, we can go ahead and adjust the spring tension the way it should be a little bit later. And then, after I did that, I went ahead and put it on the mounting plate on the quad. So, basically, look at my flashlight. Those pins, that's what they're for. So, you just go underneath the quad, lift your entire assembly up and pin it in there. And it's the same thing on the other side, and you're good to go. So, now that we got the motorcycle stand underneath the blade, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the two smaller carriage bolts that came in our hardware, and I'm gonna mount this in this orientation using these nuts onto our push tube. Once I have that, I think I'm gonna go ahead and just hook the winch up to it, and then it would be a great time to put on our skids. Should be these guys. Okay. I will make a clip about this because there's a certain way that you need to assemble all the hardware that comes with it. So, when I get to that point, I will report back. The last step in our assembly process is the skid. Now this is kind of how I did it. Basically, you got a washer down here, you got the rubber spacers over here, you got washers that act as spacers, and then you run it up, and then you've got an extra couple washers up here, and then you have a self-locking cotter pin. I hate these things, but that's what comes with it. Quick pointer, in order to put the bracket on, the instructions are very clear about this. I just wanted to make an emphasis about it. Both of the brackets that come with this assembly have a notch right here. Okay, so you're gonna want to look for that notch, and you're gonna want to put it down. Okay, so you can see here, I did exactly that. The notch is downward. And the little pack of nuts and bolts and everything have two sizes of bolts, two lengths. Obviously you're going to want to use the shorter one where there's less space. So what you do is you put the shorter one up here, the longer one down here, bolt it down. Here when it comes to the skid, the instructions come with this diagram, and that should show you relatively what you're supposed to be looking for. The end goal is an upward angle, and I was just kind of eyeballing it. I thought that looked pretty good. There's minimal play, and we're gonna do the same thing to the other side, and that's it.
And that's it.
Lately it's been really cold and really dry. The snow was threatening to fall yesterday, but it looks like all the neighboring areas got snow and we didn't, so we'll see. If we get enough snow, I'll put a video out there as kind of maybe a review to see what this thing can do. And otherwise, heck, it works. It works in the garage. I wouldn't expect it to be any different out in the field. So, I hope this video gave you guys a little bit of clarity if you're looking to do this process yourself. Or maybe even help you decide whether or not you want the dealer to assemble this for you or you just want to do it yourself. And just kind of what that process entails. If you had any questions, I hope this video helped answer them. And as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Even if you're never going to put a snowplow on a quad and you guys were just watching this, I appreciate your support, and I'll see you guys on the next video.